all those likes and keep them coming our way. We're trying to get the 3K. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. We got Chip the Prophet Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier, and Zach the Injured Brenner. And we're glad that he made it. No, he didn't chop his fingers off.
Call him Two-Fingered Zach.
Yeah. I think there was a pitcher in the major leagues back then, in the old days. And we usually start with what's on our mind. Zach, you going to be ready for what's on our mind?
Yeah.
Okay. What's on your mind, Zach, besides the doctors trying to give you some serious medicine? Sports. Sports. No, go ahead.
See, because he knew I was going towards Gateway Health Plan. But that's neither here nor there. What's up, UPMC? Those Z need some sponsorship. At times it's rough out here with Obamacare. But what's on my mind, folks, in the sports world is what I can't understand about the Pittsburgh Penguins is the only person that needs to be fired in the organization was Dan Bylsma, and he's still, at this moment, still the head coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And what they're saying is that they're going to wait for the next general manager to decide whether or not to keep Dan Bylsma or not. My thing is, how can you even think about keeping Dan Bylsma? He is completely overachieved to the maximum. He wouldn't even have won the Stanley Cup that he had if it wasn't for Michel Therrien's system. And he caters to the players. He's another coach that's too nice to the players, and look at the results. So if I'm Mike Tomlin right now, switching over to football, if you're watching this, Mike, you better switch it up a little bit and quit trying to be everybody's best friend and get these boys into gear, because I'm tired of another 8-8 year, and that's what's on my mind, folks, and I still got all my fingers.
Thanks, Zach. Appreciate that. And I'm glad you could make it in the show after you lost 2 pints of blood, so not bad at all. Speaking of losing blood and being away, Smoking Jim Frazier took a little hiatus this past weekend. Thursday I get a text, buddy, I'm back in the hospital. No details. I get another text that he's practicing wheelchair chasing of nurses and lady doctors. Then on Sunday, about 1 o'clock, my man texts me, I'm out again. So, with no further ado.
Was that Western Sacred?
We can't say. Under HIPAA laws, you're not allowed. Hey, Zip, we're not allowed to talk. HIPAA laws. Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. And if you want the green, you got to see Levine. But, hey, it's nice to be back. I was off for 2 weeks. Spent 2 weeks with Ellis Cannon. And had a great time talking football with Alice, who's a friend of all of ours on the show. But what's on my mind is just a couple of things. First of all, Roger Goodell, who's, Chip always scolds on this show. Here you got Mathis, who had 19 sacks last year for the Indianapolis Colts. His dying mom wanted to have another grandkid, and he got on fertility drugs to help his wife out. And after she got pregnant, he stopped taking them because he didn't need them anymore. He still has the unused pills in the same container, and now he's suspended for 4 games without pay for taking fertility drugs. So I think that's crazy. But what's actually on my mind?
Wow. Oh, whoa!
Speaking of test tube babies, what's on my mind is Johnny Manziel, and I think that he is this great thing for football. He's the most arrogant, cocky, egotistical guy to come in the league since Deion Sanders, and I think it's the greatest thing that ever happened to Cleveland. This is a guy who I've always said should change his name from Johnny Manziel to Johnny Cash. As soon as he, came into the league, already his Cleveland Brown jersey is the #1 selling jersey in the National Football League.
Mickey D's commercial.
Commercials. He's at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and all the future Rock and Roll Hall of Famers are his friends, like Drake and his management team. He's under the same one as the King, LeBron James, and his Johnny football T-shirts are jumping off the shelves, and season tickets are going through the roof. The first weekend, over 3,000 season tickets because of Johnny Manziel. But if you look at our division, I think we have great quarterbacks now in the division. Future Hall of Famer Big Ben. Yeah, you got Flacco. Flacco's a Super Bowl winning quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, and I've always liked Dalton for the Cincinnati Bengals. And I tell you what, the quarterback play in the AFC North is alive and well thanks to Johnny Manziel. It's going to be fun.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. Chip the Prophet Hayner, what's on your mind?
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. I've just got to speak to Johnny Manziel. Okay, we're going to call him Johnny Cash. Well, let me tell you something. This idiot just fell into a burning ring of fire. Okay. It was the biggest flame out ever happened in the AFC North. And I'm really looking forward to watching him fall flat on his face. He hasn't done anything yet except to prove that he's got a great marketability. His legacy will be written on the
He's not even
field,
the starter yet.
Or his body parts will be strewn all over the field.
He's the backup.
You've heard the prophet speak. Write this down. There might be heavy money coming
More than
out.
Ron Leaf? Is he going to fall on his sword more so than Ron Leaf?
We'll
Watch. Okay, there's going to be plenty of chuckles to come. But touching on something that Zach brought up, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Pittsburgh Penguins were an absolute miserable failure this year. And I brought up concerns about this team 2 months ago after the Olympics, seeing the lackluster play they had. And I was getting criticized for being so harsh on him. And I think, the honeymoon's over with Sid Crosby. The way he performed in the playoffs is disgraceful. For somebody that gets paid that kind of money, quote unquote, the best player in the world, I don't want to hear that term referred to with him in the same sentence ever again. Sidney Crosby is a good hockey player. There's a ton of good hockey players in the NHL. The best two hockey players in the NHL are still skating in Chicago, and they're getting ready to win their third cup in the last 5 years. So, the Penguins were a miserable failure. The team had no guts. It had no heart. It had no discipline. And subsequently, they failed when they went up 3-1 against the Rangers. Ray Shero, he got the axe. Well, he's the first head to get lopped. It's not going to be the only one. The team is going to be remade. There's a lot of things that are going to happen. And the ownership group decided, well, we'll make the new general manager the scapegoat for all of this because nobody wants to take responsibility. But, the one thing that Ray Shero did is he handcuffed this team to a point where, how are they going to be able to rebuild this team because they've got so much money invested in so few players that have really failed. There's players now that are going to need to get traded, and their contracts are going to be prohibitive when that comes around. I think Chris Letang may be not long for this team, but the problem with trading him, this is a young man that just had a stroke 2.5
I think he has a no-trade clause.
He's got a limited no-trade clause. James Neal, he's another player that's been pretty useless this year, other than taking boneheaded plays and dirty play. He's not a tough guy at all. He's a cheap shot artist, and he won't stand up and back up any of the superstars. Sid Crosby got clobbered, and Evgeny Malkin, when he wants to, can play with the best in the world. But the thing is, how do you get him motivated to play more consistently? So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out over the summer. I'm really hoping the Penguins turn it around. They do have a good nucleus, but
no problem with the goaltender, Chip?
Well, you know what? The Marc-Andre Fleury is not the reason why the Penguins flamed out in the playoffs. Okay?
Wow. You heard it, Zach. You heard it.
That being said, I would not lock up Marc-Andre Fleury long term just yet. He's got one more year under contract. I would be. They've got a young goaltender in the minors that may be a couple of years away. I would let Marc-Andre Fleury play for his next contract. Instead of giving him the money now, let's see how you perform. He's getting $5 million. That's not a cheap ticket. But I'd like to see him in a Penguins uniform next year. So that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Chip.
Revisiting some of that hockey.
You think?
You watch hockey, Jim Fraser?
Hey, I got a few things on my mind, but we got some people we want to help out here. If you can get a close-up of this, John.
There you go, John. Nice work.
That's nice and cold.
There we go. That's at Moondogs on Saturday night, May 24th. The Naiads Hotel Band, and Miss Freddie is the special guest. Did you see the cover charge here? It's only $7, 8 till midnight. Check it out. Take care of our friends. Smoking Jim, we got plans. I'll get to that in a minute.
They said your kind getting free.
Well, I heard it'll go to 14, but please don't mention it too loud. Now, we just had a great time at Sips, and we met Goldie and we met Coach Rock, and they have some earth-shattering news about the Hill District at the Y on Center Avenue. There's going to be boxing, and if you guys can see that.
You didn't know about this, Jim Frazier?
He just learned about it, even though he was there last night.
I forgot you're from God's country.
His attention span is so weak. That's Saturday night, or actually Saturday afternoon fights starting at 1 p.m., and it's only $10 per ticket. And 30% of everything they pull in will go to help the community. So they do put money back. Goldie was a great guest. She won a tough man contest. Coach Rock had some great stories in boxing. You have to check that video out. And we'll be promoting some more of this before June 7th. Then we were at, here's one of my favorites. If you get a close-up towards the bottom of this, because one of my heroes here and friends of our show, Brutal, Brendan Barrett, defended his championship. Could we get a little close-up, because this is hard to read?
Can we get that? There we go. Zoom out.
Wow. All right, this is live TV, folks, and I'm putting my man John the Tiger under pressure. The control room has the other John there. We got Devin Shea in there, and we got George the Ghost Garanci.
Brendan Barrett at the bottom. There you go.
Now, this was put on by Ring of Combat. He's their champion. Lou Neglia, shout out to him for the great media passes. We're all over the place. It was just a fantastic card. There were a few cancellations. I met Bobby G, who's a hero and a sponsor. Nick is another sponsor. They have a special group. They actually raised money with Babe Ruth's granddaughter, over $100,000. So shout out to those guys. They didn't know that Brendan had been on our show, and we're glad to hear it. Maybe they'll come visit us. And then we traveled. That was a trip to New Jersey. And then the next night, we had some friends fighting there. I don't know if John can pull up something here. We have some friends. If you can get I know it's
What's
hard.
What's that number to call? 412?
831-3304. Now we have a few of our friends here. And we saw some great boxing in West Virginia at the Harv. Smoking Jim remembers that with Spadafora there.
Oh, yeah.
Now we had Monty Meza Clay making his comeback. What a fight that was. It was just an awesome fight. And what I thought was ironic, Monty probably would have knocked him out by the third or fourth round, but the guy did the Ali rope-a-dope, Smoking Jim.
Really?
He actually was trying to get Monty to punch himself out, and he didn't. So we had a great time. Bill Hutchinson, West Virginia, the judges, it's a little suspect there. That was just a draw. And then we saw our man, we missed Ed Lattimore, who won his fight by disqualification. I got there a little late, but he had knocked the guy down in the first round. And then,
what was the disqualification for?
I don't know. Nobody told me. And then Smoking Jim, you know this guy, Shannon the Cannon Briggs.
Whoa.
The guy who come into the ring,
That's big time.
it looked like he just come in off the street. It was a massacre. 27 seconds. No, he did not beat Kama Worthy's MMA knockout. But 27 seconds, Shannon the Cannon knocked him out. It took longer for him to get interviewed by our friend, the ring announcer, your guy, George Phillips. All right, we try to give those props, sir. He did a great job. I talked to him before you got there, Zach, and afterwards.
Did the Chief fight the Indian?
No, the Chief wasn't there.
He was there.
In the ring.
Not in the ring.
We did meet him and a couple other people out there. Shout out to Greg Rudolph, April Marie, Jamie Chesney, Mike McSorley, Kelvin Smith. We met ring card girls. Everybody was out there from Pittsburgh, so it was a great trip there.
Did you meet Ashley Mittens way?
Nah.
Yeah, she's one of the ring card.
We saw her.
Mm-hmm.
Got to see little Tom Yankello.
Yeah, we saw Tom.
Tina, what's up?
And thanks to Mark Yankello for the media passes.
Got a baby, got a son.
Smoking Jim, they were nice media passes.
That's real nice.
Look at that.
The tattoos show up good.
And this is My Life's a Movie, Monty Meza Clay. Unbelievable. What a comeback fight. He did great. And that's what's on my mind. Now, folks, if you're new to the show and you want to call in, 412-831-3304. We do revisit what's on our minds. And there's a lot of stuff out there. So whoever wants to open up first, just jump in.
Johnny Manziel hasn't even been named the starting quarterback. He's actually the backup, according to the owner of the Cleveland Browns. And I disagree with Joe Flacco being on any kind of level with Ben Roethlisberger. If you know anything about Joe Flacco, he's been completely inconsistent since winning the Super Bowl. And Ben Roethlisberger has just muscled through what I consider a really great career, considering that he's had some of the worst offensive lines in the history of offensive lines. And I can only imagine what Ben Roethlisberger's numbers would be if he played in New England or he played somewhere where they actually paid money and protected the quarterback, which is essentially the franchise, is the quarterback in the National Football League right now. But, hey, that's just me. What do I know?
Well, I agree with you that Ben's in the class all by himself, but you can't completely knock Flacco, who makes over $100 million contract, and he has a Super Bowl championship. I was just shining the light on the good quarterback play that we now have in the AFC North. And Johnny Manziel may be second team right now, but once the owner talks to, or the GM talks to, the homeless guy that told them to draft Johnny in the first place, he'll be starting.
Well, listen, I know you have a stark contrast to Mike Tomlin, but unlike Mike Tomlin, Little Z will never praise anybody in the division or any other team in the National Football League, only the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Would that be the same owner that is under federal indictment? Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was clarified. Okay, and the only other thing that I would question about my dear friend Jim's observation about the AFC North's quarterbacks is I sure am glad that Andy Dalton is the quarterback and will remain the quarterback in Cincinnati because they, he's a decent enough and serviceable enough quarterback, much like Carson Palmer was, and Carson Palmer couldn't win a playoff game either.
Luckily for that one tackle there that sort of finished his career. That was accidental, of course. So you need those type of things. Well, you covered a lot of ground. You guys didn't ask a lot of revisitation questions. I thought you had a couple more. Smoking?
With me, to get back to hockey.
Get the puck out of here. What happened?
Fleury, I would lock him up long term because he has more shutouts than any other goalie in Penguin history.
That is true.
Playoffs.
That is true. But here's the one thing with Marc-Andre Fleury. Marc-Andre Fleury has moments of brilliance surrounded by lapses of, I would say, judgment or concentration. And that seems to have been something that, when he's on, he's as good as they can be. But when he lets in, he loses his concentration, and, when he lets in pucks that he really shouldn't be letting in.
And in all fairness to Marc-Andre Fleury, I'm going to throw a name out of there that's in the twilight of his career, Martin Brodeur with the New Jersey Devils. Martin Brodeur, has been in the league probably 20-some years, I would have to guess and say.
Yes,
he's had moments of sure brilliance, and he's also had moments like Marc-Andre Fleury. So, goaltender is one of those positions where, it's a lot of mental. You could have all the physical gifts in the world, but it still comes down to that mental edge that keeps them pucks out of the net. And right now, for some reason, Marc-Andre Fleury is just, leaking like my hand was earlier today. Back there in the net. Well, I don't know if there's any kind of psychological more training that they could do for him, other than the fact that maybe he's just not that good.
I have the cure.
I heard an interview with Rick Tocchet, and I would like to think that Rick Tocchet would be one of the candidates to be the Penguins' next head coach. But that being said, Rick Tocchet, when he played for the Flyers and when he played for the Penguins and he won a Stanley Cup with the Pittsburgh Penguins, he was a tough guy. And one of the things that he said, that this is a soft team. And he goes, in the Penguins, it was more on display in Game 5 against the Rangers than in any other game, the way that the Penguins just completely stunk the joint on. And I think you got to put some grit into the team. You've got to get that toughness back. Nobody respected anybody.
Was it a mistake letting Matt Cook go?
How's that count?
You know what? In hindsight, yes, it was. They decided to go in a different. Was it a mistake signing Rob Scuderi at the time? It sounded like a good signing. Now we're labeled.
You never know when somebody's going to get old. But I have a cure for Marc-Andre Fleury. If you get defenders who don't play like the offensive line of the Steelers, because Ben and Fleury have the same type of problem. The offensive line doesn't really protect them. The defense doesn't protect the Penguins all the time. Now, I would have a lapse if I watched everybody charging up the ice and they pass the puck for 5 minutes and then they forget to shoot. Then they come on a one-on-none break, a breakaway, or 2-on-1, because now a forward's trying to play defense. So I think those are some of the things that need tightened up, and I'm glad you brought Tocchet up. There's a guy that broke his jaw, got it wired up, come back in the same game. So when you talk about tough, I'd rather have a guy like that telling me to go out and play. That's going to motivate me because he's crazy.
Right. So you think Rick Tocchet is going to be the answer?
No. I said if and when the
Babcock
position comes up,
is.
and listening to what Marion Lemieux says, there's a very good chance that Bylsma may still be the coach. Babcock, he is off the table right now. He is committed to being the coach of the Red Wings for next season. Okay, so there's, it's going to be interesting. I mean, you get the further you get away from the debacle against the Rangers, the more clearer heads will prevail. But
here's how clear it is. Last year, his expiration date expired. Shiro kept him. And that's why Shiro's gone. So, like Zach alluded to, and if you listen to what I said last night, Bylsma should be gone unless they're playing some strategy here to block the other teams from getting Bylsma. Because think about it. He bought into Bylsma's system, which he doesn't change on the fly rarely. And when he does change, and he stays with that, doesn't protect the star players, and everybody knows it. If we know it, what are the other teams doing? And we don't see all those hits on the stars. And who knows whether people are hurt. At this time of the year, everybody's hurt.
Yes, they are.
So if you're not playing at that superstar level, it's more than what we're looking at. So
yeah, I'm not happy. I'm not happy right now. I'm not the darkest here.
Why? What happened?
All you guys are darkening.
And that's our revisitation. And the sun out there. So, well, Sip Sports Bar last night. Smoking Jim had the best meatball hoagie he had in 2 weeks. I had 2 weeks in a row of the same meatball hoagie.
Is it not ironic
delicious.
that Jim Frazier mysteriously rises like the Undertaker from his gurney to make it to Sips on Monday night to get the best meatball hoagie he's ever had in 2 weeks?
And then he had some type of dessert, and he goes, "Hey, talking machine, I'll give you a slice." He ran out the door faster than I ever saw Batman leave last night, and he's carrying this big, heavy piece of what was that, Smoking Jim?
It was I don't know what it was called, but
was it good?
Kelly Irish was delicious.
I know what
Kelly.
it is. It's history.
Hey, Kelly, listen, my friend here with diabetes, man, the last thing we need to do is keep sugaring him up, girl. As much as you guys think that I'm not a fan of Jim Frazier,
wait.
keep Kelly Irish away from Jim Frazier.
Hold it, late breaking news. Smoking Jim does not have diabetes. He may have everything else. Don't ask. Don't ask and don't tell. And that's Sips. You come up there, you got to come up there. Go check them out Thursday nights with wings. It's Campides, 50 cents a slice. Go see Campides at Sips Sports Bar. Only 50 cents a slice.
Still putting pizza in the bag.
Yeah, there you go.
Paper
Very popular. And now we go to a couple favorite segments of mine. Smoking Jim Frazier, Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And I tell you what, going back this weekend will be the 15th anniversary of the Kumite Classic, and I think I've been to 10 of those classics, and My fiction and fact goes back to the very first one.
And where's that going to be at?
It's going to be in God's country, Monroe.
So
you know this guy's going to show up now.
So go there, and I tell you what, come on, everybody. I encourage everybody to come on out. It's a great, great event. Safe environment. And you have to look at that boxing.
Not anymore.
It's not safe.
Hold it. Wait. I got late breaking news. Smoking Jim, there was a gun in a school, in an elementary school. Yeah, somehow you glossed over that.
Gun in the elementary school.
The gun in the school was the little kid was sitting post waiting on little Z to come. Maybe keep little Z out. So that's not something. No,
I heard you said it was show and tell. You can't change your story now.
Soldiers.
You better give us the Kumatai Classic. What are you talking about?
My first Kumatai Classic, and I was there, and it was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday like it is now. And my assignment was Ice-T, who is I guess a rapper who was transitioning into show business, and he also came out with an energy drink called Ice Teasers or something like that. But it was a great energy drink. It was free for everybody, and he pulled a CP move on Friday. Never showed up.
Well, for those at home, what's a CP move?
It's not good.
And on Saturday he was supposed to be there at noon, and he wasn't there at noon. And I tell you what, I'll send this picture around. But
wow.
But he shows up. He finally shows up about 4:00 with his girlfriend, who I had no idea who's his wife.
Coco.
And I tell you what, her name is Coco, model, actress. I guess they have a reality show. And for the first time in my life, and she was dressed similarly to the one picture.
My phone now.
But I tell you what. She was. I followed her around. The whole time.
This is the most tongue-tied I've ever heard you.
One of the most beautiful ladies you ever want to see in your life in person. And I tell you what, man, I don't know where. I was supposed to be on the Ice-T's detail, make sure he was safe, but I tell you what, I didn't even see him hardly because I was just following her around everywhere she goes.
You were keeping her safe.
I was making sure she was safe, man. It was sad when they got back in that elevator and got back in that limo, and I've never seen her since. But that's my fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. Ice-T and his now wife Coco, they got a reality show together and doing very, very well.
When are you going to be appearing on it?
Wow.
I don't know. They have to give him a dribble bib.
yeah, ain't lying, man.
He's gonna follow her around.
Listen, man. You know, really that Ice-T doesn't want Jim Frazier anywhere near Coco.
And that's fiction and fact.
Have you seen her shoe collection?
No.
Okay.
I never seen the show.
Oh, you got ahead. Yeah, she's got.
Poor Smoke.
They have a wing of the house with her shoes in it.
Really? Wow.
That means a whole
Jim
room.
Frazier.
Imelda Marcos got nothing on this girl.
And I love shoes.
Yes.
We cover everything here, folks. NFL, sports, local sports, shoes, models, superstars' wives, Kumatai Classic. Now we're going to go to my next favorite segment, Chip's Trivia Time.
Well, thank you, Alan. Thank you, Jim. You know me, and I love my baseball, and I want to, I like to educate my young friend over here on the left about baseball history, because the history of baseball that he knows is 20 years of losing, and, there was quite a number of decades before that, and a lot of great things happened.
Yeah.
And I've been making light of a lot of different milestones that people hit in their baseball careers, because I don't believe that we're going to see a lot of people that are going to be breaking some of the all-time marks. One of the things that this past weekend the Pirates played the Yankees, and we saw one of the true great ball players of all time, and Derek Jeter. He's already got 3,350 some base hits, and then you think about that over the course of a career. It's an absolutely stunning feat. So on May 17th, 1925, Tris Speaker, who played for the Pirates at one time, got his 3,000th career baseball hit. Oh, looks like we got a phone call.
We do. Special one, too.
We got a caller here. Hello, caller. Tell us your name. Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yes, it's Brutal Brother Barrett, the fighter from Jersey.
Champion! This is Al Levine, the talking machine, my hero. Buddy, what a great fight. We just were talking and promoting you at the beginning here.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys for coming out, too.
Hey, we survived that trip. And
yeah, it's not an easy one.
Definitely. Zach only made me drive from Philly back to almost Pittsburgh before I fell asleep for 2 minutes.
Harrisburg. Don't get you stopped short of.
I thought it was near Pittsburgh. Hey, what's up with you, buddy? How are you feeling, my friend?
It's been a little bit of a roller coaster. I went in there, I got the W, but I kind of, it's tough feeling like I'm back at square one. I literally just got back from New York City. I went up there to see the top 10 people I could possibly find to make sure that this is resolved and doesn't happen again.
Good. I wish you the best of luck with that, and I know you'll take care of it. You're in our prayers there. You're such a good man in the community and everything else that I know you're going to overcome this, Brendan.
Thank you very much. It's definitely, that's what's going to get me through, the support of the community and good people like yourselves, because it's definitely a little disheartening, but I'm not done yet.
No, that's great to hear, and I was just amazed at the crowd and how you draw that crowd into for the support and the respect that they have for you, and especially the team that you have there and your sponsors. It was great to meet Bobby G and Nick and guys like that. They're just fantastic people around you.
Absolutely. It's in anything you do, especially if you're in a spotlight, the best thing you can do is have good, positive, real people around you.
We appreciate it. I know Zach and I were talking about it the whole time to keep awake there. We were just amazed that the guy, even though he was only 5 pounds bigger than you or heavier, he looked much bigger than you, Brendan. And I know that had to be tough, but you were tossing him around at times.
But I told you before the fight, looking at that guy, didn't I tell you that? I said his cardio is not going to be anywhere near what it needs to be to go with Brendan.
As Zach did say that before the fight began. He doesn't look like he's in shape like Brendan there.
Yeah, he was definitely a tough guy. I think, from what I understand, his manager told me afterward that he was actually 15-0 between amateur and pro fights. And on top of that, he's never been out of the first round.
Wow, that sounds familiar, though, my friend. I heard what you said there, so I was shocked myself because you were pounding on him there. I don't know how you did it with that bad hand, too. I didn't see much stop with both hands there, Brendan.
Yeah, it definitely, I knew when I broke it. I definitely knew. I stepped over, I hit him, I rocked him. I felt the crunch, and that's why instead of, charging in on him like I normally do, I just threw him and, shoved him across the cage because kind of had to regroup for a second.
Right. When did that happen? Do you remember what time that happened,
3
roughly?
minutes into the first?
I think it was about 2 to 3 minutes into the first round.
Wow. Yeah, because I was wondering with your ground game, because I've seen a couple of your fights, and you're right in there all the time, so that shocked me. I didn't know.
Yeah, I literally, people don't really remember or really know that I was a very high-level collegiate wrestler. I was actually going to nationals, and I had a lot of problems with the coach, and it ended up one of the first times ever I walked out. But I said, as hard as I worked for this, I said, I just can't tolerate, the treatment I was receiving anymore. So I walked, but that was a mixed blessing because it kept that fire of competition in me. So years later, I was just sitting there miserable in life and said, I miss competing. And if I didn't, stand up for myself and walk when I did for my wrestling coach, I probably wouldn't have that fire still burning in me to start fighting.
Well, I'm glad you do, and it's been impressive. And just that story there, it shows everybody that we talk about good people on our show, that adversity affects all of us. But it's how you rise up after that. And that's why it's a pleasure to know you and see you in action there.
So where do you go from here, Brendan? What do we have to look forward to here in 2014? Obviously, you got to heal your hand up again.
I haven't made any announcements just yet, so I guess maybe I'll be breaking some more news on your show.
Thank you.
I'm not sure how they're going to fix my hand just yet. They got to consult with all the members in the group. I actually shattered it in 3 places now. Ooh. It's in 3 pieces because I guess where the plate was in there.
Yes.
How it broke. they're not sure because between what the other guy did and some problems they still had from that versus fixing what's there now, it may be a while that I'm out. I get surgery a week from Wednesday or a week from tomorrow, and I'll just know more then. But I may be out for maybe a year and a half.
Wow. Well, Greg Rudolph wanted to say to hang in there. He's dealing with an arm injury of his own that he's getting ready to come back from. So hopefully you'll come out to Pittsburgh and watch Greg get back in there and tear it up because he's a beast too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've been talking to Greg. Initially I was talking to Greg before his camp. I was trying to actually set my camp up out in Pittsburgh, but, I just hit a wall trying to find short-term rent and stuff like that, and, it just didn't pan out this time. But I definitely, once I'm able to drive again, I'm looking forward to hopefully getting back out there and visiting again soon and helping them out too.
That sounds great, and guys were excited here, that know you, and we're all rooting for you, and they were glad to hear, about the results, not the injury, though. So
yeah,
definitely.
Unfortunately, it's a part of the game, but I just keep telling myself nonstop every day, God's got a plan, whatever it is. I always say maybe just fill me in on the cliff notes. I don't need all the answers, but maybe a little insight.
I don't think he gives you cliff notes. I have to explain that to Smoking Jim because he graduated magna cum something at California University. He never had cliff notes because he just writes books, doesn't read them, Brendan.
These books never come to fruition either. They never get published.
Yeah, we're waiting on his next book.
I've read some thrillers myself.
But no, we like to have a little fun, and we'd love to have you when you come back to town. You have an open invite to come see us. We'll put you on the air, and you can talk about whatever you want there, my friend.
No, I definitely appreciate that, and I will certainly let you guys know as soon as I got plans to come back in.
Well, thanks again, and you be safe, and good luck with your operation and your surgery. We're all praying for you, and we got that power of prayer from Pittsburgh coming right at you.
I feel it, guys. Thank you very much. Truly appreciate it.
All right, Brendan.
Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Oh, man.
Wow. Yeah. That was a nice...
Nice to hear from the champ. I'm telling you what, this is a guy...
First class.
I'm telling you what, I converse with him over Facebook, and he puts out the most positive messages of anybody I see out on the internet. And I tell you what, he's an inspiration.
It's one thing to put out positive messages, but this man not only puts out a positive message, but he goes out and he walks the walk and he talks the talk. And to me, that just speaks high volumes of the character of that man. But I look for nothing but big things from him. His hand will heal back up, as will Greg Rudolph's. The human body can heal. He's only 32 years old, and I think we got some more fights left from Brutal Brendan Barrett to come.
Oh, definitely. It was a great road trip, too.
And I just want to remind you folks watching at home that these are all exclusive things in pro boxing and in cage fighting that you'll only get right here at Pittsburgh Sportsline. You're not going to get Brutal Brendan anywhere else other than right here on Pittsburgh Sportsline. Lightning Rod Salka right here. Bill Hutchinson, Ed Lattimore, all the best fighters in the city of Pittsburgh all come to Pittsburgh Sportsline first. Not to Ellis Cannon, not to WPXI, not anywhere else. They come right here to BPTV, Comcast 7, Verizon 32. And I just want to thank you folks at home for tuning in and watching.
Hey, how about YouTube? 24/7? What about Facebook with us?
Hey,
you missed a couple things.
Dave Cable got a little, I get a little shock when I don't, Comcast 7 and Bethel Park.
Here, I'll tell you, Dave Cable had and his wife Nora had a baby, as you guys know, 6 weeks premature. Dave's going to be off the next couple weeks, so our shows may not be up as regular as you see it. So when Joyce, our biggest fan in Florida, wonders where the shows are, they're not getting put up right away. Zach's not holding back.
Settle down, cuz. Settle down.
So we'll get them out as soon as we can, and we appreciate you all watching all over the country there. And we are in 55 countries, believe it or not, and 50-some cities in the United States.
Wow.
So if you needed an update. Chip, I think we got some trivia coming, don't we?
Sure. Yeah.
Let's get that trivia.
You even being very patient, that's all. Wait my turn. So the first thing we talked about was the 3,000 Hit Club. And May 17th was a good day for a couple of ball players. One was Tris Speaker, Pirate great. He's got his 3,000th hit. Another one of my favorite ball players, home run champ, Hammer and Hank Aaron, is the only home run champion with 3,000 base hits. He got his 3,000th base hit May 17th, 1970. So way to go, Hammer and Hank. Also on May 17th, the first baseball game ever broadcast on TV was on May 17th, 1939. It was broadcast on W2XBS, which was an experimental station of NBC. And the game that was broadcast was on television, not radio. The radio game was here in Pittsburgh.
That's right.
Yes.
KDK holds that.
Princeton beat Columbia 2-1.
No way. Now that's pulling some trivia.
And next, I've talked about some milestones there. I say like the 3,000 hit club is something that we're going to see very few people hit. With the way people's baseball careers are cut short for whatever reasons, there is one club in baseball that has one member, and it's an exclusive club, and he'll be the only member ever of all time, and that is the 500 win in baseball for pitchers. Okay, and they name an award that's given out to the best pitcher in the American League and the best pitcher in the National League. It's called the Cy Young Award, and Cy Young won 512 baseball games in his career.
What years were that?
He pitched at the turn of the last century. Okay.
1800s,
So,
late 1800s.
So on May 19th, 1910 was when he won his 500th game. Now, I bring this up because I was doing some research and I was looking at the Hall of Fame classes from the first year that people were elected into the Hall of Fame all the way up until this year. And the thing that amazed me about all of this is that there has never been a unanimous selection into the Hall of Fame. The closest person to ever being a unanimous selection was Tom Seaver with 98% of the vote. But the first initial class into the Hall of Fame included such Hall of Famers as Ty Cobb, Walter Johnson, they called him the Big Train. I brought him up last week. Christy Matheson was another major pitcher. Babe Ruth, and of course, Pittsburgh's own Honus Wagner. Those were the first members elected into the Hall of Fame. Cy Young, with his 512 wins pitching, did not get elected into the Hall of Fame until the second year of Hall of Fame voting, which just goes to show you sports writers, for whatever reason, have an effect on who gets elected. But how do you not put him into the Hall of Fame on the first
He
spot?
lost too many games. He had too many losing
And
games.
how is he
I
not
don't
a
wanna-
unanimous selection?
I don't want to interrupt, but since this is brought up there, this is my question. How are there guys in charge of putting guys into a Hall of Fame for athletics that never played the game and have no athletic ability? Who are you to tell me whether I belong in somewhere or not? You never even played the game. You probably couldn't even play the game.
Zach, all I can say to that is that's a great question, and I wish I had an answer for you. Okay? I mean, I'm going to be
I have an
honest.
answer for you on that. Now, a lot of great athletes aren't good coaches. They aren't good judges of talent. They're just great athletes.
And they're not
You don't
good
have to
moral
play
good.
the sport. We have coaches that maybe couldn't hit a ball or throw a ball, and they've won hundreds of games. NBA, you have a lot of players. They haven't all been great coaches. So that does happen in sports. And with the writers, I do have a bone to pick with some of the writers. If you're a baseball writer, okay, that's fine. But when you don't really cover baseball anymore, why are you voting on the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, because
That's the problem I have.
Once you get your vote, it's yours for life.
To me, it should come up for review yearly anyhow.
And then I got
That
two
would
more
help.
small ones here on the trivia for tonight. On May 19th, 1956. Okay, there's a Pittsburgh Pirate of little known fame, but of some great distinction. His name was Dale Long. Dale Long did something nobody else has ever done in baseball history. He had a home run in 8 consecutive ball games. May 19th, 1956, in the 9th inning, he hit the first home run of that streak that started yesterday. So that's something that brings Pittsburgh notoriety. I had the pleasure of listening to Dale Long speak when I was a child. He would tour around the local schools. And he came in another great Pirate.
Suburban schools?
Yes, sir. Okay.
One inner city.
And then
school.
I've got one bone here from my friend Alan Levine because I know how much he likes the Bambino.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Babe Ruth did something on May the 20th, 1919. He not only won the game as the starting pitcher, he won the game with his first Grand Slam home run of his career.
Wow.
So not only was he pitching to pitch to
great
get the win,
left-hander.
he hit the Grand Slam that won the game. So that's Chip's trivia for this week.
Wow, way to close it out. That was strong finish on the trivia time.
Good job, Chip.
Now, we haven't talked Pirates yet, and then we got some Steeler draft. We got to at least pick, Smoking Jim Frazier's. Let's start with the Buccos for a few minutes
wait a
here.
sec.
What happened?
We just skipped over Z-Time. I just sat through Fiction and Fact and Chip Trivia,
right.
and I had one of the baddest cage fighters on the East Coast call in. Hey, I guess that was Z-Time.
You know what happened? Here, Chip,
See
look
you
at
at
how
the
it
Pirate
was.
game on May 22nd.
Hold it. Wait, look what happened. Z. I had it underneath the binder. It's Z-Time.
Oh, you just threw me for a loop.
It's hot. No, it threw me for a loop.
Z-Time will take
Z-Time.
Z-Time will take you the 14-hour drive through Philadelphia to Atlantic City, where, like I said, where all the
Wait a
said we
minute.
met.
Which way did you go by? Of Albuquerque?
No, return trip,
It's
too.
6
We
hours.
went round trip.
It's 6 hours one way.
No, not when you go up to Butler to pick up Jesse.
We went to Grove City and then
Yeah,
cut
Grove.
across, and then had to come down 322 and go 76.
Yeah, we
It was just
had a road trip that you
we
can't
sure
believe.
You gave you directions, Jim.
Hey, funny you should say that. I did see a sign for Altoona a couple times.
Mr. Magoo.
I did see. Hey,
Yeah, you did.
Jim Frazier definitely gave us some bad directions, but that's neither here nor there.
I did see Cal U.
It was a great time going over there and mixing it up at Atlantic City. We got there just in time pretty much to see Brendan get warmed up and defend his heavyweight Ring of Combat belt, thanks to Lou. But the return trip was way more interesting than the trip out there, where Al Levine wants to tell you folks that he drove from Philadelphia almost back to Pittsburgh is incorrect. I believe I got about an hour and a half rest before we pulled into a gas station, and him and my comrade Jesse Kill couldn't figure out how to get the gas cap off because it was a locking gas cap. So by that point,
Is that what that camouflage Velcro's on the gas cap for?
Just because the sleeping bear woke up, he did not drive right away. Somehow he left that out. He forgot that he didn't drive because he went back to sleep. The bear went into hibernation. I mean, we got stories, and it was just a great trip. I appreciate
It was.
Zach taking us out there in his vehicle, and what we ate and drank were Snickers and water. That's all he told me I could have, because I had to have a Snickers bar every so often. I didn't want to change. So, but that was a fun trip.
It was a great trip, and then to round it off, we came back from Atlantic City, got some rest, shot down the Mountaineer Casino. I didn't see Jim Frazier there. He wasn't recuperated yet. It wasn't Monday night at Sips, so you couldn't find him. But if he would have known Jamie Chesney would have been there looking as fine as he was, he might have got out of bed and came down.
Come rolled on in his electric wheelchair.
He could. Hey,
Hold it, Zach, but
could've.
you missed why Smoking Jim really is upset that he didn't make it. Not because of the fighters, not because of any of the boxing.
boxing.
No, there was one other person that all of a sudden, hey, Al, the Midwest Princess showed up. Did you see the picture with Greg Rudolph, my man, and Alicia Sparks?
Oh, my
You didn't
goodness.
see that, buddy.
Well,
But
you don't
that's-
take sand to the beach, so I mean, I was locked down on Saturday night. So if she would have came out to Atlantic City on Friday, we could have had some fun. Midwest Princess on the East Coast with the East Coast Dome. But hey, you came down to West Virginia, down to the Hillbillyville, and
Well, you know what? That's right near Ohio. That panhandle's right next to Ohio. It wasn't a far trip for her. So, but she was
I
there.
had Tracy
Smoking
with me,
Jim, did you
so
see that photo?
Yeah.
Okay. See?
it broke his story. But that just sums it up. Like I said, folks, there's exclusive things that you only get in Pittsburgh Sportsline that some guys can't even buy. Like Well, I mean, Ellis, if you got the money, I mean, I know you want to replace Jim Frazier, so just call me, man. I'm ready, man. I'm hungry.
Hold it. Weren't you just in the hospital? How about calling guys that aren't in the hospital? Get that camera over here. Give me a call.
Hey, listen, I know, Levine. He's plugging that green tea. You're plugging that green tea, Levine. That's going to be your claim to fame.
Yeah, 12 cups. Only today it was 8. That was it. But try it. Stay healthy. And for all you boxers and MMA people that need to lose weight, green tea is an actual natural diuretic. And Smoking Jim, you can look that up in your Funkin' Wagnalls.
So is cranberry juice.
Well, yeah, but green tea provides a lot of immunity. And look at how we were able to handle that trip. I was giving you a little sip of green tea.
Drink that.
Yeah, why don't you? I'll bring a cup over to you if I can find out what neighborhood you're in.
You'll choke.
Man, is it true, Jim Frazier, you haven't been to the hood since, I don't know when?
I'll be there June 7th or whatever.
We're going to the Hill District.
Chicken on the hill with
No, no chicken on the hill, but it's going to be a great show. Check that out. And then don't forget, we got MMA. We got Kumite. You're going to see Pittsburgh Sportsline from 3 to 5. And I want to give you a late breaking news announcement. You know we're always giving out first. Bill Viola Jr. gave us a table, Smoking Jim, and he's asked you to man the table with all the models that you have for Pittsburgh Sportsline. So we're going to have a table. So you can start as early as Friday. I don't know if I'll make it out to Monroeville Convention Center, but wherever it's at. But you have permission. I'll give you at least one sports magazine. You can put this out there.
I always try to hang out.
Can you get a photo of him holding that?
I always try to hang out in Churchill.
And you're all invited there. Come on out.
Murraysville.
And that goes on Friday and Saturday. There's so many things going on. Mixed martial arts. No, not Sunday.
What?
You didn't get the late breaking news.
Jeez, I was going to
John,
go
you got
Sunday
it.
too.
It's on Friday and Saturday. Yeah, the 23rd and 24th. I told you to meet us on Sunday.
Yeah, I was going to go out there on Sunday too.
Well, you can still go, they told me. There'll be stuff to clean up. That'll
Well,
be
then
the
you know
first.
he's not going.
No, but it'll be a great night. And then there's in Greentree, go to the Greentree Sportsplex. Contact your fighters that you like, from Kama to Jamie to Eric. All these guys. Remember Eric Bledsoe was on the show? He told you.
He was a brother.
He told you, that, whatever you guys did in the hospital to him, give his brain back. Come on now. Eric told you with those eyes, I'm going to knock him out.
I remember. I remember the
Now
brother.
you remember
I remember the brother.
I thought
yeah,
so.
Thanks. All right, can we get a little draft talk here?
Yeah, let's do it.
How's some Steeler draft talk? Smoking Jim, you're our man. We've been waiting, folks, over 2 weeks. He skipped out on us, went to PCNC. He's getting so many great reviews on that show. I got to tell you, I hear all kind of people talking about it.
Hey,
They can't believe you're in the hospital because they said they saw you 2 weeks in a row.
No, for my propensity for prophecy, I did say that that Jim isn't going to like any of the Steelers draft picks, but he is going to get a good steak, right?
Yeah, 2.
Now let me ask you guys this: we got plenty of more days left in the calendar year, plenty more Steeler talk. We got a lot of time before the Latrobe.
Yeah.
So they just, Ellis Cannon just gave Jim
Again,
Frazier
what's
the
this
boot.
Ellis Cannon?
There's
He's a
so
good
much
man.
time to go. More talk to go. They give Jim Frazier 2 weeks. But there's so many more weeks to go before training camp. But, hey, I don't know.
What's your numbers at? Hold it, wait. John, I know I got to make you work on this camera a little bit. Can you check this out? Hold on.
So is there any of the draft picks that you like?
Give him a call.
Well, I
Who
did.
are you going to call?
Well, I did get the.
Contract.
How about the biggest snack?
D- was Jim Frazier's grade,
Yeah,
to be exact.
I gave the Steelers a D-, and I'll quickly tell you why. First of all, they drafted a great outside linebacker in the first round, Smoking Ryan Shazier. And
Smoking, are you referring to Mike Adams style, or because he's from Ohio State?
more like Hayward, who's also from
Do they
Ohio
have
State.
Foreman grills?
Foreman
grills?
Yeah,
'Cause I don't understand that type of stuff.
But, they draft a guy with 4.3 speed that's an outside linebacker, 2-time All-American, and they're forcing him against his will to play inside linebacker, and they're keeping Jarvis Too Slow Jones on the outside. So I had to mark that down from an A grade to a B. Second round, they needed a cornerbacks. A lot of great cornerbacks out there available, but they take Stephon Tuitt from Notre Dame, who's 30 pounds overweight, and more detriment to him is that he had stress fracture in his right foot and has a pin in his foot. I don't know that ever gets better. Third round, they draft a part-time special team player that can only return kickoffs. He can't return punts. Sort of like Dunn that they had last year that had 4.2 speed. They still cut him in training camp. Fourth round was a steal. They took Marvace Bryan from Clemson's big wide receiver to be good.
Yes.
Martavius. And you can't go wrong when you take Shady Tree, the big kid from Clemson, Snack. I talked to him on the phone, asked him could he slam dunk a basketball. He said at Tennessee they're not allowed to play basketball. He said, but in high school you could slam dunk. I said, well, how much did you weigh in high school? He said 420 pounds. So
wow, how was that landing?
Yeah, so
I'm not worried about getting up there. How's the landing?
He's slimmed down to 352 pounds with 18-inch shoes. But the Steelers, who are linebacker U, couldn't resist taking another linebacker later on in the draft when they took UCLA's linebacker, Jordan Zimwalt, and he's a tackling machine, but he's never going to see the field. They got enough young linebackers. Plus, the kid from Miami looks like he may be healthy.
Who's Spence?
Spence may be
healthy.
Is it
true?
Yeah.
He might be back.
He might be healthy.
Can they not play him in the preseason this year?
Yeah, there you go.
Please. If I'm a coach, I don't play him one down in the preseason.
So there again, the Pittsburgh Steelers,
So
that's why I
can
gave
I
them
ask
a
you,
D-.
what does that say about the organization that they have? Spence was injured, 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
So they've been patient with him, and they could have released him, and he still would have got fixed for being injured, but he just wouldn't have played again in the NFL. So you're telling me that they kept him around this whole time. There's actually a legitimate plan for him, and he may see the field again.
Yeah, because when you draft as poorly as the Pittsburgh Steelers have done, there's no players on the team currently from the 2008 or 2009 draft, so you can hide a guy for a couple of years. If you remember, when the Steelers had some lean years under Chuck Noll, they were able to keep Greg Lloyd 2 years in a row when he blew out both knees in preseason.
But to say that the Steelers don't have anybody from the 2008 draft to the 2009 draft, you could say that that's because they drafted poorly. But you think about it, what's the average length of an NFL career? Is it about three and a half years? I mean, doesn't that speak to the attrition rate of athletes in the NFL and the fact that they don't really have long careers? People like Ray Lewis are more of an exception than the rule.
Well, no, I think it speaks to the trio of Mike Tomlin, Kevin Colbert, and Art Rooney II, how they're pulling the program all the way down. I had dinner with Art Rooney II on Friday night, and Thursday night, and I really thought he didn't even know there was a draft that day. Well, but anytime you're Art Rooney II and you get rid of the genius,
well, you know what? We're going to have to continue this later. We were supposed to shut down with about 30 seconds to go, John. Ooh. But I want you to get this photo of the ticket.
Shout out to Con
Sportsline is going to the Pirate game because of Chip Hayner. We'll be there. Some of us will be a little late. We got Jessica Lee's Jazz Networking Happy Hour with us. Pittsburgh Sportsline special.
Hey, Levine, you got free $5 Rivers Casino.
I saw that. I'm looking at it. Hey, thank you very much for watching us, folks. We appreciate it. No Sips this Monday. Come out June 2nd. Great show. See you next Tuesday. Have a great holiday. Happy Memorial Day.